He's off for another scan right now, but the physios and the doctors had a look at him, and it looks like there's some significant damage there to his knee.
They're talking about grade 2 or grade 3, which is 6 to 10 weeks. I mean, it's a fair whack, isn't it?
It could be, yeah. It could be up to that long, but again, the scans will give us some more information there.
So he's obviously not going to play this weekend. But what about Stephen Moore?
Squeaky's got a bit of swelling in his calf, so basically got a ruck mark and it bled down into his calf. And he's a bit sore this morning. We'll see how he goes this afternoon before we make a definitive call there.
Because you're flying out, so you've got to decide pretty quickly on that one, haven't you? Probably quicker than you would normally.
Yeah. I mean, travel is not ideal for Corks, so we'll see how he goes this afternoon, and then we'll let the boys know at the end of training.
Just on James Dargaville, I guess, would be an obvious one to come in for Joe. Is that right? Because he has been covering that position as Nigel Larwong.
Yeah, I think there's 3 outside backs who haven't really had an opportunity to get on the field this year. Nigel Larwong, James Dargaville, and Lausi Taliuli, who's been playing a bit of club footy for Royals here and been doing quite well. So they've all been pushing for a spot, and I think realistically we're looking at the performance this afternoon to make a decision on either Nigel or James Dargaville.
Huge blow. Joe has been probably one of your better players.
He's been outstanding, and you look at his game on the weekend. Superb in attack, defensively up against Nandolo, and tried to put a number of shots on him. Bounced off a couple of times, but kept coming back at him. So it was one of his better performances defensively as well. He's been on fire this year. It's been his best season by a long way.
I know you like to sort of look at the opportunities that injuries sort of provide, but I guess Tamani and Steve Moore both out. It's still a massive hit to the team, isn't it?
But it is an opportunity, you're right. But I think particularly with Joe, the way he's been playing, it's a little bit disappointing that it occurred the way it occurred. And again with Stephen, we haven't made a definitive decision there, so we'll wait and see this afternoon before we make anything there.
Tough trip over there with a bit of a stopover. Is that just to kind of break things up a little bit? Yeah,
really difficult place to get to, Invercargill, particularly coming from Canberra. A connection to Sydney and then Christchurch, and then trying to get down to Invercargill is quite a difficult trip. So we've been lucky enough to get a trip tomorrow, which is our day off. So we can spend the whole day travelling pretty much, get into Queenstown, get settled there, and then do a bit of training in Queenstown before we bust down to Invercargill on Friday afternoon in preparation for the game on Saturday. So it's an unusual trip to New Zealand, but I think it'll be quite enjoyable, and basing ourselves in Queenstown is always a good option.
A good week maybe to have the squad together too, after I guess a few uncharacteristic mistakes and things like that, just to get the boys away again.
Get them back together. I think we found that when we went to South Africa, there was some really good bonding that occurred over there, but equally I think the boys were keen to get home and see their families. We've been together now and we've worked pretty hard over the last couple of weeks. I think this will be a really good trip for the boys to get away from it and get some focus back on the team environment. And I think what we've been striving for this year is to be working really hard, and certainly the last 2 weeks we've worked really hard, but also enjoy the journey along the way, and I think touring gives you that opportunity.
When you say team environment, have there been distractions that may have affected the team? Is that what you're talking about there, Steve?
No, the team environment in terms of working hard and enjoying one another's company. I think the last 2 weeks, because we've had a 7-day turnaround and an 8-day turnaround, and prior to that, we had a lot of travel to South Africa, Perth. We hadn't got a lot of work in, but the last 2 weeks we put a lot of work on the field, and we've maybe lost the balance a little bit. So it's a good opportunity just to get that culture back in there and the off-field stuff, working with the on-field stuff.
What about the next 3 weeks? Pretty vital, isn't it? I know you can't look too far forward, but you have a look at 2 away games and 1 at home against the Bulls. It's a pretty crucial 3 weeks coming up, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we say it every week that every game's important, but we certainly need to lift out of the boys now. losing 2 of our last 3 is certainly not a record that we're proud of. So we'll be working hard this week, but like I said, we'll get a really good balance, make sure that we're getting our prep right, both off the field and on the field.
Yeah. Just on the Highlanders, traditionally they've been a rumbling style forward pack, very good at the breakdown. They like to play physical, and I guess you've just got to lift again for that sort of game against a New Zealand side, haven't you?
Yeah, they're probably a little bit more structured than most of the New Zealand sides. They're a very physical outfit, and we'll address that today before we get out onto the paddock. They kick the ball a lot, and they've got really good kick chasers. So Osborne and Ben Smith in particular, I think, chase the contestable kicks really well. Aaron Smith's a great controller around the ruck. It's a similar proposition every week. Every New Zealand side that you come up against is chock full of All Blacks, and it's no different this week. They're a very physical side. They bring a hard edge to the game, and we'll try and match it this week.
Pocock back, how big an influence is he for your side?
Oh, just the energy that he brings. As we were talking about before, trying to get our balance right with the off-field and on-field, and Poey brings really good balance to both. You see him on the paddock. When he plays, he's one of the world's best, so invaluable to have out there.
Do you consider putting Jared Butler at number 8, or do you keep Jordan Smaler there this weekend?
Yeah, we'll have a look at both of those combinations, I think today, and we'll make a decision based on how it goes at the end of the session.